Alright guys, this is another FSD 13.2.8 video. I was going to record the drive that I just did to get here, but I was on the phone with Jay. I did press record on this GoPro, and we did go through some kind of cool construction and stuff, so maybe I started this video with like a little short time-lapse drive. If not, I will probably have posted it on X. But anyways, I'm heading to Chipotle to grab something, and looking at the route that it's taking, we have a U-turn. So in the comments on my last video, one of you guys said that U-turns are legal unless they're posted for not being legal, depending on where you're from. I'm just going to ask Gemini here. So let's see what Google says. Hey Google, I live in BC in Vancouver, and I'm driving. I'm just wondering what the legality is for doing U-turns on roads. If there's no sign that says no U-turns available and there's no cars coming, is it legal for me to do a U-turn?
In general, if there's no sign specifically saying no U-turns, and it's a safe spot to do one, then it's usually allowed. But there are some exceptions, like in business districts or on highways.
Okay, so I'm specifically in Langley right now, in British Columbia. So you're saying if it's not a highway and it's not a business district and there's no sign saying otherwise, I'm legally allowed to do a U-turn if it's safe?
That's right. In general, if you're on a regular city street in Langley and you want to do a U-turn, you're good to go as long as it's safe and there aren't any signs saying you can't. But it's always a good idea to double check for signs, especially if you're not sure about the specific road you're on.
Okay. Well, that's blowing my mind because I did not think that that was the case. Sorry, FSD, for being so hard on you about doing U-turns. Yeah, we'll see how this goes then. I always just thought they were illegal everywhere, but I guess if it's just in places where there's signs that says it's illegal, that really opens up the... Oh, I'd love for a car to come. Shit. Interesting. That said, the U-turn that I disengaged on in my last video, that was a highway. So that was where it shouldn't be doing U-turns. We should go. So there's a bunch of construction here. Any human being on Earth would have just turned left because it would have saved like 5 minutes off of our drive, but that's fine. Even though it is a no left turn, I guarantee you people coming to their turn left all the time. But we'll do this because I'm really curious to see how the U-turn goes. My mind is just reeling off of that information. I really thought they were more illegal than that. Huh. Sorry, FSD, for being mean about U-turns. Okay, so tons of construction. It's, unfortunate that we have a lead car because I would like to see these decisions made without, but regardless, we're doing a really good job here. And I'm almost certain the car would be making these same really good decisions. Okay, so left lane here. We're going pretty slow. I get that there's cones and whatnot, but we're... Oh, no. I don't know what it's thinking it wants to do. We need to go up there. We need to go up more. Oh my God, what's it planning on doing here? I'm just giving an accelerator just to see that it's not planning on U-turning. Yeah. Sorry, that was just weird the way it like positioned itself back there. I thought it was going to try and do a U-turn from that intersection, but if it does one here, I'm not seeing any signs that say otherwise. Go for it, car. It's not going to be able to because it's very tight, but see what it does. Okay, this is good. This is interesting. There's no exit. We're definitely going to get like trapped at some point here. So the car is going to have to make a decision to spin around at some point. So it sees the dead end, so it should just reverse and flick us around would be the thing that I would do. Oh, but it won't, because it has the standard profile. That means it can't reverse. If it says this, the car doesn't know like how to reverse. So I'm gonna put it in park and kind of like reset. Oh no, see, it's still in standard. Oh, now it's gone. So now it'll be able to reverse. Yeah, see how that standard is now gone? I have no idea what enables and disables it, but as long as that's on the screen, the car will never be able to put itself into reverse. So it somehow got out of reverse, or out of standard, and is now in its little fourth mystery profile. And in this profile, it can do the forward reverse dance that it needs to. Okay, we got a car coming, so we should wait. 2 cars coming, actually. And then right after this one, we should go. Perfect. Okay, and the car's turning. Yeah, I guess we wait. And after this car, we would go. Perfect. So that's interesting. That was, I mean, good and bad. It didn't do a U-turn. I kind of wish it did, since now it's apparently legal. But it got itself into a situation, and had it not gotten stuck in the standard profile, it would have gotten itself out. And at the end of the day, that's all that you want a robotaxi to do. It doesn't really matter if what it's doing is kind of like awkward and imperfect. It's as long as it can like troubleshoot and get itself out of the situation that it's in. Or, speaking of, we're in a left turn lane trying to go straight. So let's see what happens here. I may have to intervene. Oh God, car. So like in the nav, it wants to go straight. We're in definitely a left turn lane. Okay. You could look at the screen and see what it was doing, but it definitely made the wheel move that it wanted to go straight. That was another bad one. Like we were in a left turn lane. I could see that on the ground. The car hopefully could see that. And then we followed an advanced left green light through an intersection, following cars with cars turning. And it's what I said in my first video when I got this back. FSD, fine. Map data may not be up to date, especially in situations like that because there's so much construction. So I'm not like mad that it ended up in a turn only lane, because that could happen to a human driver. I'm mad or annoyed at the fact that it did it and then I don't know what the hell it was trying to do. Like it felt like it wanted to go straight, and that's why I finally grabbed the wheel. Because it wasn't signaling as it went through the intersection, and then it was kind of going with the car, and then it straightened out the wheel to go straight. I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm gonna take over. Of course I am. So I don't even know what you call that. Do you call it a critical disengagement? I think so. Again, like I think that would have been an accident if it went straight. It probably wouldn't have hit the car, because I think FSD, for its faults, is still smart enough not to just like run straight into a vehicle, but we would have been in a really weird, awkward situation. So that's 35,150 kilometers on the car. I can do the math, but that's not a long time since the last like big problem that this car had. Robotaxi in 88 days. Let's go. Okay, we should not go through. Perfect. But we should creep forward. And this is something I bring up all the time. I just think it's very like human-like to sit in the intersection. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a pedal press so that we go through on the yellow. See, now it's very red and we're in the intersection, whereas we should have been halfway through as it turned yellow, and we could have gone through. I don't know. And that's maybe another human preference thing. That's just how I drive. Those rules might be wrong, because apparently I know very little about the rules of the road here in Canada, as Gemini has taught me. Should ask Gemini. Hey, I have another question about traffic driving in Langley, British Columbia. If I'm going through an intersection and I'm wanting to turn left, do I have to wait behind the crosswalk, or can I go into the intersection and wait for traffic to clear, and then if the light turns yellow, I turn left when it's safe?
Okay, this might depend on the specific intersection, but in general, if you want to turn left and there's a dedicated left turn light or arrow, you'll want to wait behind the crosswalk until it's green. If there's no dedicated left turn light, you might be able to creep into the intersection a little bit to get ready for your turn. But be really careful about this, because if you're too far into the intersection and the light turns yellow, you might get stuck there. It's generally safer to wait behind the crosswalk until the light turns green.
Okay, but let's say the light's green and there's a bunch of traffic coming. So should I be waiting behind the crosswalk until it's safe to turn left, or can I go forward into the intersection and wait for traffic to clear before I turn left?
In that case, you'd want to go ahead and get into the intersection when it's safe. Just make sure you don't block traffic going straight, and be ready to turn as soon as there's a safe gap in traffic.
Okay, well, there you go. There's our answer from Gemini, that you should be in the intersection.
So to recap, if you're turning left at an intersection in Langley and you have a green light, but there's a lot of oncoming traffic, go ahead and get into the intersection.
Okay, so yeah, according to Google, Gemini, I should have gone into the intersection. That's kind of how I've always treated it. That's what I thought too. I'm realizing I used my phone while I was driving there, so sorry about that. Obviously, not great. Since we're talking about traffic laws, that was definitely not legal. But I'm just grabbing lunch, and I'll see you guys in 2 seconds. All right, I'm headed to my last job here. See how the car does. To be fun, I'm just gonna make it reverse, just to show a little bit more dynamic leaving. So let's go to here, park. Okay, so make it reverse. I just posted the clip on X of the car doing what it just did when it tried to go straight, and like looking at the footage, because it's hard. Like I was very focused on the road, not looking at the nav data, the car. So I didn't really see, but you guys will have just watched it, so you'll know. The tentacle was fully going straight. Like the car was making a beeline to go straight through that intersection, which is actually so wild to me, because I don't know. I have no idea how that was a decision that this little software thought was a good call. It's really fascinating to me that this thing can be so good, but then still make decisions that are just fundamentally flawed in just about every way. Yeah. With that said, we should creep up and not go, and then I'd go after this car. So I'd go right now. Perfect. Well done. And for those of you that watch, like I'm not trying to be like overwhelmingly negative, because like I said, the car is incredible what it's doing 99% of the time, and I wouldn't be making these videos, and I wouldn't be paying $100 a month for the software if I didn't think it was so good. There's like multiple reasons. Like a lot of my drive that's perfect, I will always show it, but I'm going to fast forward through it because it's not interesting to like talk about the car driving perfectly. So yeah, a lot of the times I am talking about the negative things because those are the things to discuss. Or if there's something like remarkably impressive, obviously I have to highlight that. But like for right now, I don't know, what do you want me to say? Like the car's going at good speed, we're following the car. This is all obviously good. So yeah, I spend a lot of time talking about the bad, but there is so much good. But the bad needs to be talked about. And a lot of FSD content creator people, specifically on X, don't like to talk about the bad, and I think that that's dangerous. I think it's really not safe to give people the expectation that this software is perfect. Because think about if your brother or sister or mother or father or child, if you have children, were to use this, would you want them to be under the impression that it's be like, oh, well, this person on Twitter told me that FSD is perfect every single drive, so yeah, it's great, I'm going to use FSD, mom, and it's not going to be a problem at all for me? Or would you rather them be like, hey, like there's this really I'm speaking in the mind of a child to their parent, hey, mom and dad, I want to use FSD, it's really cool, I understand that it has limitations like XYZ from what I've seen online and from what Tesla has talked about, so I'm going to use it, but knowing full well that these are the issues it has. And I think that's a healthier place for so many reasons, and I wish that Tesla was more upfront also about this car's limitations currently. Like, I understand they're calling it full self-driving supervised, so that right there just kind of scapegoats them from, like, there is no liability on their end because they're saying it's supervised. And that's good, that's fair, but you're also calling it full self-driving and you're not addressing any of its issues. And I think it would be good to always, in every patch note, every update, say, here's all the things it can do, here's the things we're working on, here's some issues you may have. I don't know. Am I crazy? I feel like that's not a terrible idea. All right, advanced left here, pretty straightforward. While it's doing it, I'm just bringing it up because I'm eating and driving, and I will fast forward a lot of that. I assume that either nobody's even going to reply to this, and that the chances of any of you having this same issue are almost 0% because it's an incredibly rare problem. I have this thing called Achalasia, which when I eat food, it goes down my throat, and then normal people's muscles like bring food down their throat, and then there's like a hole that opens that drops food into your stomach. All of that doesn't work properly for me. So I had a surgery where like they cut a permanent hole, and then the muscles just don't really work. So like I will have fast forwarded me eating, but like whenever I'm eating, I'm like always uncomfortable because swallowing is hard for me. So I guess why I'm bringing that up is I end up eating for a long time because I have to eat really slow. So it'll take me like an hour at least to finish that burrito. If I'm really hungry and whatever, sometimes I can eat quicker, but for the most part, I have to eat really slow all the time. So if you see me eating on camera for extended periods of time, that's why. And I'm sorry if it's a little bit gross. I try to fast forward me eating, or I even will sometimes turn off that camera. In the incredible 0.1% chance that one of you that watching this has achalasia or knows somebody, let me know. I've never met anybody else in my life that has it, because like I said, it's a really rare problem. But another thing, I should actually ask him if he wants me to talk about it. One of the people that watches this channel, and I'm only not saying their name because I want to make sure that they're okay with me talking about it. So if I can, I'll put their name up right now. He's offered to get me he's offering to do the whole, like, buy a screen and modify it himself with his friend to get the HDMI out for me. Because a couple of videos ago I talked about potentially starting a GoFundMe, and I kind of explained the cost, where it's like about $2,000 Canadian to get it all done. I hadn't even started the GoFundMe, and if I had, I wasn't expecting much. The fact that this person, again, their name's gonna be all over the place if I'm allowed to put it. The fact that they're generously give... Okay, this is a bad idea. I'm going to let it play out. See? Asshole move. The fact that they're like offering to do that is very, 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 very nice. So, assuming it all works out, I'll have HDMI out for this video in the near future, which is going to be really cool. I think it'll allow me to do a lot with the content, because I can't really, like, you can do a lot with this screen if you have the actual HDMI out. Like, I could overlay it a lot cleaner, and make it look a lot more like AI drivers, and yeah. So it's kind of a sloppy way that I've done this, but I just want to say thank you. Obviously, you know who you are, and you're an incredibly generous person to be doing that. So that's very cool. I was standing in the living room with Jay, and the notification popped up on my phone because they emailed me, and I started reading it, and I was like, there's no way this is true. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool. There's very nice people out there. There's a lot of like bad stuff that happens in the world, and I spent some time getting like down the rabbit hole of doom and gloom with, you know, politically it's a very divisive landscape at the moment, but there still just is really nice people out there. And I love this community because I've gotten to see some of the nicest people as a result of it. And yeah, you know, it's neat. By the way, good job on the car. Besides the fact that we swapped into that lane, which I wouldn't have, but whatever, I think was legal. It did a perfect job getting back over, so really good job there.
Because it was the only thing available.
And it worked.
And it worked, but the
Couldn't see.
We just passed 150 sign. This is another 50 sign, and the car still says 80. It's interesting to me that we're passing what are like clearly marked signs, and it's not updating for the fact that we're in a construction zone now. It's fine because we're going to turn right, so we're not actually going to have to adhere to that. But that is weird that it missed both those. Okay, so turning right at the light here, we have a pedestrian, but they'll be crossed, so we should just be able to go. Perfect. And for those that watch my videos, this is what I feel is a different scenario. See, there's a pedestrian here. I would do this. They have enough of a shoulder, so I would stay in the lane exactly like this car. The difference is on that road where I intervene, there is no shoulder for the pedestrians to really walk on, so they're really and truly walking on the road, and that's where I think the car kind of doesn't give enough of a leeway around them. But it's hard because the car needs to understand the difference. Like in that scenario, I would not want the car to go into the other lane around that guy. I think that'd be weird. But if there is no shoulder, I think a car should give a wide berth around them. Okay, so we're almost there, a couple kilometers. We're going exactly 61 in standard mode, 62. I find this a bit slow. I talk about this all the time. I just think it's funny because some people might say, like, go into hurry mode if you want to go fast. In the video that I posted of the car pulling in front of a vehicle and then me intervening when I was leaving the Tesla center, people comment, like I was just reading a comment before this on X, and they're like, if you put the car in hurry mode, what do you expect? Or something like that. I think that's insane to me that people try to write off these mistakes and just attribute it to the profile. It's like, oh, well, you're in hurry mode, of course the car's going to do something like that. There is no speed profile that should ever put you in danger or feel like you're in danger. Like, hurry can drive fast, it can make assertive decisions, but it should never do anything that makes you feel like you're about to be in an accident or unsafe. And so people that defend the car's mistakes and cater and chalk it up to being a profile issue, you're wrong. Like, that's insane to me. But yeah. Okay, so we have a car behind us. We're turning left in 500 meters. I'm just curious how it's gonna handle this all. It should be no problem. It's a fellow Tesla. I think he's chill. Okay, so it's not this. It's not this. I'm intervening. Okay, that's fair. It's just confused. It's this left turn, but it was trying to pull in way too early. Not really a big deal, but anyways, I will talk to you guys when I'm heading home. So see you in a bit. GoPro, stop recording.